Hey, what's up guys, it is Slick here back again with another video, and I've speculated on who I think the main villain will be in Spider-Man PS4 in the past, but now that we have more information about who's actually going to be in the game and what their role is, I figured I would make a new video talking about this and who I think the main villain will be, given the information that we have now. So the way I'm going to go through this video is basically start by talking about who the main villains will not be that are in the game. And this includes going through the side quest list and other information about the game and basically narrowing out who is not going to be the main villains in the game. So first of all, Black Cat will not be the main villain of the game. She has a side mission or whatever where you're trying to basically find these like Black Cat, Lucky Cat things or something. I don't know. I don't exactly understand off reading this, but anyway, she's not going to be the main villain. I think that we could have already guessed this. Taskmaster will not be the main villain of the game because he has his own side mission, which actually sounds pretty cool, but check out another video I've got coming up talking about these side missions in the future. So yet again, another villain that will not be in the game is Harry Osborn as the main villain that is. Of course, Harry Osborn I suspect will be in the game, but they have conveniently found a way to exclude him. They say Harry Osborn is in Europe during Spider-Man, so basically he's not going to be in the game in the extent that we expect. Like, he's going to be away doing other things, right? So he's not going to be there during the main portions of the game. Kingpin. So in the case of Fisk, he gets arrested in the opening basically minutes of the game. Like, that's our opening mission, is to arrest him, and because of that, he obviously, I suspect, will not be the main villain of the game. That's certainly very anticlimactic if you defeat the villain in the first 4 minutes. So this is not to say that he won't play a role in the game, but I do not think he will be the primary villain. And then right after we arrest Fisk, we run into, of course, Mr. Negative. And I also will say he will not be the main villain of the game, just because it is incredibly rare. It would be incredibly unlikely for them to show the main villain of the game that early on. And one of the things I thought about is looking back on Batman Arkham Knight. If you remember, the reveal trailer for Arkham Knight would have led you to believe that like the Penguin or Two-Face were going to be the main villains of the game. They want to keep that under wraps. Like, who the story is going to be about in regards to the main bad guy, they are not going to reveal very early on. So in my opinion, this really leaves 3 contenders. It leaves Doc Ock, Vulture, and Venom. Now, Venom, I think, has a really high probability of appearing in the game. Maybe not as the main villain, though. Not this early on. I think that usually, like, Venom stories, if you've read them in the comics or even in Spider-Man 3, it's usually they're more like psychological thrillers, and usually I don't think that the first game in this series, presumably series, I think that Insomniac is clearly headed that way. They haven't confirmed it, but in any case, I don't think that he's going to be the main villain. I thought about it for a bit. I mean, there's a possibility he'll be in the game. I don't think he's going to be the main bad guy, though. I just think it's pretty unlikely. However, then we get to Vulture and Doc Ock. I think that both of those are incredibly likely. And it could be something where they're both, like, the leading villains of the game. If I had to take a guess, I'm going to go with the Vulture, probably, just because Doc Ock, you know, he really actually is not an A-list Spider-Man villain, in my personal opinion, and in my time reading Spider-Man comics. Spider-Man 2 made him very popular, but before then he was maybe like a B-list Spidey villain, in just my personal opinion. Some people may disagree. I would argue Venom and Vulture have always been more like well-known or more menacing Spider-Man threats, in my personal opinion, Spider-Man villains. So I say this to say that I'm going to guess that the Vulture is going to be the main villain of Spider-Man PS4. And once again, you would not think this based off of what we've seen from the game thus far. In fact, we haven't seen the Vulture at all. And this is exactly how they intended it to be. Okay, you know, they're going to definitely reveal at some point. There's going to be like a story mode trailer, and it's going to lay out the main plot of the game beyond like, oh, you know, initially you lock up Fisk and then you fight Mr. Negative, and Mr. Negative's going to be in the game. He's not going to be the overarching villain, though. I can almost guarantee it. I'm pretty damn sure. Because if Doc Ock is B-list, then Mr. Negative is probably C or D list. I mean, he's a very new character. Dan Slott created him, and Dan Slott is like a modern comic book writer. I would say, I don't know exactly, he's not older than 20 years. So you have these other villains that are more iconic and more classic, like the Vulture and like Venom to an extent in terms of being iconic. I'm going to go again and say that I think that Venom it has a possibility of being in the game. So does Doc Ock. If I'm betting money on it, though, I'm going to say that the Vulture is the main villain of the game. And, of course, the added benefit, you have Spider-Man Homecoming. People are familiar with him now. And you have that built-in sort of notoriety of people knowing who he is. Not that Insomniac is particularly concerned with that. I think they definitely want to pave their own way with things. But that is an added bonus. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on this video in the comment section below. Is there any big Spidey villains that I'm missing that could certainly be in the game? And definitely the answer is yes. There's lots of Spidey villains that could be in the game. But in terms of who's going to really be leading the antagonist portion of the plot or whatever, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's going to be one of those three guys, and all three of them I'd be really happy with, but I'm putting my money on the Vulture. So let me know your thoughts on this video in the comment section below. My name is Slickmoff. I'll see you guys in the next video.